year, the Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association partners with the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs to develop plot demos and a display tent for Canada's Outdoor Farm Show. We have also been working with the folks with the Soils at Guelph initiative for the last couple of years as well. We highlight local association activities, membership benefits, funding program opportunities, and research projects and plots. Here's a bit of what we've been working on for this year, and there's plenty of more information within our digital exhibit space for 2020.
My name's Dietrich. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Middlesex County. I'm a young farmer up there. I farm with my family. I am the current president for 2019 for Middlesex Soil and Crop Improvement Association.
I joined the Kent Soil and Crop when I was 24 years old. I'm now 28 and I'm the president of the local association. My dad was in soil and crop when he was my age, so I thought it was a natural step for me to kind of follow where he had been. I like the opportunity to meet with other local farmers and share experiences and knowledge.
I see value in the grassroots of the organization and the research and commitment that goes on and how it helps the community. Every area is specific and different. It's important to have one voice from your region to bring your thoughts and concerns forward.
Also, the networking opportunities within OSCIA on a local level as well as a provincial level, where you get to meet farmers from all over that are thinking along the same lines of soil health.
OMAFRA and provincial programs are delivered through Ontario Soil and Crop and more or less through our local program delivery. So it helps you be on the front edge of those programs, which can help drive your business, drive innovation, and be a steward. So as local president, I'm responsible for chairing meetings, helping organize events that we put on for the community and other farmers in the community, or helping industry integrate in with our organization and how we can get projects done.
The president also casts the tie-breaking vote in the event that directors can't come to a consensus on something, and also makes sure the local documents are in place and shared with the provincial office.
I think it's important to have that organization for people just to realize how a proper meeting should be ran and how parliamentary procedure and that stuff, how important it is. It keeps people organized, it keeps things on task, and it helps get stuff done.
We don't have meetings for the sake of having meetings. We have meetings when we need them. They're fun, they're productive, and you go away happy that you attended.
Everybody wants to see youth in their business and their organization. Some advice I would give, just go out to your local meeting and start participating. Maybe ask a director or someone that you know that is involved with it, and that can help you with the steps of how to become a director and eventually if you want to proceed higher.
My name is Corey Cowan, currently director for the Kent Soil and Crop. I started, I believe, December 2013.
My name is Ken Nixon. I became a member basically because I like the work they do, and I'm involved in a cash crop and a custom service operation just outside of Ilderson, Ontario.
It's a great stepping stone to get involved, to get your feet wet. There's a lot of guidance from within the organization, either locally, regionally, or provincially. Everybody's very approachable.
I became a member basically because I like the work they do. It is a member-driven organization. Quite often what they'll do is they'll take research that has been done in a research station, and they'll basically try to field-proof it or make sure that it works on field scale levels. We've been just fortunate that we've had a bunch of people that have been willing to start young, put their time in, and pass the torch to the younger crowd, so that we have a youthful, really good young bunch of people that have their hands on the checkbook.
Because of the board being so young, energetic, and very, very, very progressive, you always learn from a board meeting, even in side talk with people, right? In the past, as a director, we would maybe have 5 to 7 meetings a year, pinpointed on certain times of the year on when we need to accomplish things. Meetings usually last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Our role as a director also is then to choose the projects we want to work with. So it's just a case of prioritizing, and that's part of the job of the directors.
There's usually about 3, maybe 4 events throughout the year. So whether it's even just getting the barbecue ready for the twilight tour, or driving the tractor, or pulling wagons, or whatever needs to be done basically, and just having fun while you do it. It really opened up that whole box of the industry to me. The overwhelming knowledge, insight, and then also the help that you get from everyone.
This has been one of the most rewarding organizations that I've been part of. The real value of this organization is that we all want to propel our own personal operations together, and we understand that the best way to do that is to actually work with one another.
It's just amazing the amount of support, networking that's there available for someone that becomes involved.
Hi, I'm Kathy Dibble. I am a workshop leader with Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association.
And I'm Margaret May, and I'm Regional Program Lead with Ontario Soil and Crop.
And we're here to promote the educational workshops that Ontario Soil and Crop delivers. I do the Environmental Farm Plan Workshop, which is a prerequisite for a lot of the funding programs that we deliver. Potential for funding for a variety of projects, whether it's cover crops or no-till equipment and windbreaks. There's a whole gamut of projects that are eligible for funding once you have your environmental farm plan in place.
In addition to Environmental Farm Plan, we also offer a Growing Your Farm Profits workshop that allows producers to do an assessment of their business management skills and write some action plans to move their business forward. And there's also cost share to help you with some of those endeavors as well, like writing business plans or financial assessments. And we do biosecurity workshops, and they are focused by commodity. So dairy, beef, sheep, swine, goats, mink, bees, plants, greenhouse, right? We talk about how to keep your product safe and free from disease, and you do an assessment of the biosecurity standard and your business and identify where you'd like to make changes. These are all voluntary. The workshops are all free, and you need to check out our website if you want some more information. www.ontariosoilcrop.org.
Soil Test Manager is a new app and website that's a product of Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association, the new one-stop shop for soil test interpretation and for accessing Ontario fertility recommendations. There's all kinds of information out there when it comes to making nutrient decisions. This tool, Soil Test Manager, is really meant to provide information to help you as a grower and provide an authoritative resource for understanding your soil test. Ontario fertilizer guidelines or recommendations, they're evidence-based, and you can find those guidelines in our agronomy guide or in some of our hort publications. We've got field crop and hort crop recommendations embedded within the app, and we've also got interpretive information, so lots of information to guide you through the process of understanding what your numbers mean. You just click the button to get the full set of recommendations, so it's pulling those numbers out from the agronomy guide and basically onto your screen. Soiltestmanager.ca, very easy to use, and it's all in one place.
We are excited to introduce a new set of AgriSuite tools, and we'd like to give you a short overview of one of the tools, the Organic Amendment Calculator. Have you ever wondered how much nutrients are being applied with a manure application, or how much money could be saved from using less fertilizer after applying manure? The Organic Amendment Calculator, or the Manure Calculator, is one of the tools in AgriSuite that can easily calculate the available and applied nutrients from a single application. The calculator lets you determine how much nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash, and the economic value after application, as well as the micronutrients that have been applied from an application. To access the tool, follow this link. The Organic Amendment Calculator is one of the standalone tools in AgriSuite, along with the Crop Nutrient Calculator, the Fertilizer Calculator, and the Phosphorus Loss Calculator. These calculators are accessible from a phone, tablet, or computer. This tool allows a quick calculation, or the user can create an account and save the work and return to that file at a later date. On the opening page of the Organic Amendments Calculator, we have a few choices. We can work in imperial, metric, or US units and switch anytime. And we can work in English or French. We have the option in this tool to do one quick calculation, or we can give the calculation a name so we can come back to it, keep it in our records, or fine-tune it when we get an actual manure analysis. There are a series of tabs. The solid line indicates which tab we're working with. The Field Information tab gives an overview of the field. The Material tab looks at the analysis information or the nutrients that are contained in the manure. And the Material Application tab considers the management of that manure. The report is a summary of all of that information. In the Material Type tab, we can give each material a specific name, especially if we have more than one manure storage or more than one type of manure that we're working with. Next, we have a drop-down list of the different manure options, and within those options, we have the option for solid or liquid manure. There's a place for notes. For example, we can include a date that a manure sample was taken for record-keeping purposes. Next, we have an actual analysis of that manure that we're applying. We can enter that nutrient information from an actual analysis, or if we don't and we're planning to take an analysis, we can use a database of samples. Generally, the dry matter, the total nitrogen, ammonium nitrogen, the phosphorus and potassium are standard in the analysis. But we can also have the option to add micronutrients, organic matter, carbon to nitrogen ratio, and other information into that analysis. This sets the stage to go to the next step of adding our management information. The screen in the Material Application tab allows us to put in the management information. Things like, when was that manure applied? Is it applied in the spring? Is it applied in late summer or early fall? And then how is it applied? Is it applied using a spreader, a tanker, or drag hose? And then how quickly is the material incorporated? Is it incorporated within 1 or 2 days? Is it surface applied, or is it applied into a standing crop? Those are all options in this management part of the calculator. If we're applying in late summer, for example, we can select if there is a cover crop growing that will utilize some of those nutrients. And then finally, we use the application rate, and that gives us the available nutrients, both on a per 1,000 gallons or per ton basis, and then also the total nutrients applied on a per acre basis. Trying various scenarios on some of these management decisions gives us a quick indication of how much difference it makes in available nutrients. For example, are we applying in the spring or in the fall? And what impact does that have on the available nitrogen? Throughout AgriSuite, there are a series of little green circles with an eye, or information icons. These icons provide some additional information on the availability of different nutrients based on our management decisions. For example, nitrogen availability based on timing and incorporation details, as well as potential nitrogen loss from leaching below the root zone. The information icon for the available phosphate gives an idea of how much is immediately available and how much may contribute to the longer supply of phosphorus in the soil. The trace elements information icon will give an estimate of how much of the different trace elements provided in the analysis that have been applied to the soil in that application. The last information icon gives additional information about the economics of the manure application. Using default values, it will give an estimate of cost of application as well as an estimate of available nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash based on fertilizer equivalent prices. The total economic value is an estimate of available NPK after application. When manure is applied to fields that have the highest fertility needs, the economic value of that manure is the highest. The organic matter and micronutrients also provide value, but at this point are not included in the economic value calculation. When the user has entered all the information and tried different scenarios, there is an option to summarize that information in the Report tab. There are options to print the information, or it can be saved as a PDF for record-keeping purposes. The addition of manure is just one component of field nutrient management planning. The Organic Amendment Calculator is a standalone calculator, but is incorporated into the Field Management Calculator. This tool can determine a crop's nutrient needs, nutrient credits from past management, as well as nutrients removed at harvest. This will provide an estimate of additional nutrient needs required from commercial fertilizers. And then finally, how much risk is there for nutrient loss based on management decisions we've put in place? The Field Management Calculator incorporates all of these tools to give a more complete picture of a crop nutrient balance on a field basis or multi-year nutrient balance over a full crop rotation. To access the Organic Amendments Calculator, go to ontario.ca/AgriSuite on a phone, tablet, or computer.
Welcome to the Phosphorus Loss Calculator demo. My name is Jake Monroe, and I'm a soil management specialist for field crops with the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to introduce you to the Phosphorus Loss Calculator, or PLATO for short, a brand new tool that's part of AgriSuite. As many of you know, there's been a lot of concern around the phosphorus loads to the western portion of Lake Erie in recent years. Algal blooms in the summer have raised public awareness, and it's clear that agriculture, along with urban areas, have a role to play on both sides of the border. In agriculture, runoff from erosion and poor timing and placement of phosphorus fertilizer and manure are the main contributors of phosphorus movement to Lake Erie. Phosphorus is also a critical macronutrient that's key to good crop production. It's important that we manage phosphorus in a way that maximizes productivity while minimizing risk to the environment. Fortunately, we have the information to make management decisions that are a win-win. Many farms in Ontario are doing their part and adopting best practices that reduce risk of phosphorus loss. Have you ever wondered how your farm is doing? PLATO is a science-based, Ontario-developed tool that you can use to see where you're managing phosphorus well from an environmental perspective and where you may have room to improve. The Phosphorus Loss Calculator, or PLATO, can be found on the main page of the new AgriSuite website. You can choose to create an account in order to save and return to work if you'd like, or use it as a guest. The calculator is accessible on your laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Let me show you how it works. I've opened up the Phosphorus Loss Calculator within AgriSuite, and I'm looking at the Field Information tab to start with. So in the Field Information tab, we enter some basic information like farm name, and field area, some geographical information, as well as a best estimate at the soil series that we're dealing with. The phosphorus loss calculator comes pre-populated with annual precipitation that's average for Ontario conditions, and we have the opportunity to enter our phosphorus soil test value. In the next tab, the phosphorus loss tab, this is where we really provide the information that feeds into PLATO and gives us our score. In this example, we're growing soybeans. We've got a field that's systematically tile drained, and we have the opportunity to adjust the tile drainage spacing. We've also provided a bit of information to help provide an estimate of soil erosion. So here I've entered 4% for maximum slope of the field, and that's the kind of information that can be found on ag maps or in our soil maps online. In this case, it's no-till soybeans, and we've got an erosion based on that information of about 1.9 tons per acre per year. You can see that that erosion feeds into this field characteristic index, which in this case is 45. The next important piece of information for the phosphorus loss calculator is fertilizer or nutrient applications. And in this scenario, we've got a phosphorus application for those soybeans that actually happened or is going to happen this fall. And we're assuming that we're going to have perhaps a late corn harvest, and we're applying that fertilizer just on December 1st. So perhaps no snow on the ground, no frost, but we're applying into December, and we're not incorporating it, just leaving it on top of that residue. This would be considered a practice that's not great from a phosphorus loss perspective, and it's reflected in the score. We have an application loss index of 134, and that's driven our total phosphorus index into that moderate range. The great thing about the phosphorus loss calculator is that it allows you to look at lots of different scenarios. So let's change that application date from December into mid-May, say just before soybean planting. We're still leaving it on the soil surface, but in this case, you can see that the application loss index has gone down to about a 20, and we've now moved to an overall low score. Phosphorus just doesn't move as much if you're applying it very close to planting. Let's see if we can do even better. Another scenario might be perhaps having liquid on the planter, or even in some cases, maybe some dry fertilizer capability. And in this case, we're going to be applying that fertilizer in a banded way at planting. You can see that this gives us the lowest overall score. And in this case, the application of that phosphorus fertilizer really isn't contributing to the risk of loss. And it's the field characteristic index or the erosion that's really the driver. But we're in the very low category. This would be considered a very good scenario from a phosphorus loss standpoint. Last, we've got the report tab, which provides all the information that you've entered, as well as a summary at the bottom showing you your phosphorus index. So there you go. There's a quick spin through the phosphorus loss calculator in AgriSuite. I encourage you all to take a look yourself, enter your own farm information, and play around and see how different practices impact your risk of phosphorus loss. Soil Test Manager is a new app and website that's a product of Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Association, the new one-stop shop for soil test interpretation and for accessing Ontario fertility recommendations. There's all kinds of information out there when it comes to making nutrient decisions. This tool, Soil Test Manager, is really meant to provide information to help you as a grower and provide an authoritative resource for understanding your soil test. Ontario fertilizer guidelines or recommendations, they're evidence-based, and you can find those guidelines in our agronomy guide or in some of our hort publications. We've got field crop and hort crop recommendations embedded within the app, and we've also got interpretive information, so lots of information to guide you through the process of understanding what your numbers mean. You just click the button to get the full set of recommendations. So it's pulling those numbers out from the agronomy guide and basically onto your screen. So I'd encourage you now, if you have a smartphone, to go to this web address, soiltestmanager.ca. Very easy to use, and it's all in one place.